Listen carefully. This moment is not accidental. Whatever you are doing, pause it. This is not something to hear while your attention is divided. Give yourself permission to be fully present right now. Let the noise fade. Let the distractions wait. Because sometimes the most important truths do not arrive loudly. They arrive quietly, and they require your stillness to be understood. Take a slow breath. Feel it deeply. Notice the tension you have been carrying. Notice how your thoughts have been restless, how your inner world has felt crowded, even when you were physically alone. There has been a weight you could not explain, a pressure that had no visible source. You may have called it stress, confusion, or exhaustion, but there is something deeper happening within you. You have not been pulled into this moment randomly. You have been guided here because there are things unfolding in your life that require your awareness. Some realizations cannot be processed in the presence of other people's opinions. Some shifts are so personal that they must be received in solitude, without interference, without commentary, without doubt from outside voices. Recently, you may have felt distant, not only from others, but even from environments that once felt familiar. You may have been present in conversations, yet internally detached. You may have been surrounded by people, yet felt separated in a way you could not describe. You questioned yourself. You wondered if something was wrong with you. You wondered if you were becoming too withdrawn, too different, too disconnected. But consider this possibility. What you are experiencing is not rejection, it is preparation. There are seasons when your life begins to shift beneath the surface. During these seasons, you are quietly being reshaped. Your perspective changes. Your tolerance changes. Things that once felt normal begin to feel heavy. Things you once accepted easily now disturb your peace. This is not weakness. This is awareness. You are being moved away from noise so that clarity can emerge. There have also been moments when certain people said things that unsettled you. Their words seemed harmless on the outside, yet something inside you reacted. You could not always explain it logically, but you felt it. There were subtle tests, subtle pressures, subtle attempts to pull you back into old patterns. And even when you tried to ignore it, your inner voice recognized the truth. Not every presence in your life is meant to accompany you into your next chapter. This is not about blame. This is about alignment. Growth requires separation from what no longer supports your direction. It requires distance from influences that do not understand your evolution. And sometimes silence becomes your greatest protection. There is power in not reacting. There is strength in restraint. Not every misunderstanding needs correction. Not every accusation needs a defense. Not every situation deserves your energy. Your silence is not surrender. It is discipline. You may have felt guilty for withdrawing. You may have felt pressure to explain yourself, to justify your distance, to reassure others that you have not changed. But the truth is, you have changed. And change is not betrayal. Change is evidence that you are no longer the person you used to be. You are not required to remain who you were just to make others comfortable. Right now, there is a transformation happening within you. It is quiet, but it is powerful. It is happening beneath the surface, beyond what others can see. You are developing strength that does not depend on validation. You are developing clarity that does not depend on approval. This process can feel uncomfortable because you are standing between two versions of yourself. You are no longer who you were, but you are still becoming who you are meant to be. This space in between can feel uncertain. It can feel lonely, but it is also sacred. Every meaningful transformation requires a period of isolation. During this time, distractions often increase. Situations arise that tempt you to react emotionally. Opportunities appear that try to pull your focus away from your path. These moments are not accidents. They are tests of your discipline. Every time you choose peace instead of reaction, you strengthen yourself. Every time you choose silence instead of argument, You preserve your energy. Every time you choose patience instead of impulsiveness, you move closer to clarity. You may not see immediate results, but something is shifting in your favor. There have also been physical and emotional signs. You may have felt unusually tired, even after resting. You may have experienced waves of emotion without clear explanation. Some days you felt strong, other days you felt fragile. This does not mean you are broken. It means you are releasing what no longer belongs within you. Letting go is rarely comfortable. You are shedding old identities, old fears, old limitations. You are creating space for something new. You may have also noticed changes in your awareness. Certain patterns became obvious. Certain truths became impossible to ignore. You began to see clearly what you once overlooked. This clarity is not accidental. It is the result of your growth. You are learning to trust yourself. You are learning to listen to what cannot be heard with your ears, only felt within your spirit. And while this season may feel slow, it is not empty. There is preparation happening. Foundations are being strengthened. Your resilience is increasing. Your understanding is deepening. Soon there will be movement. Situations that felt stuck will begin to shift. Answers that felt distant will become clear. Opportunities will appear in ways you did not expect. And when they do, you will realize why this period of stillness was necessary. Because you were being prepared to handle what is coming. You will step forward with confidence that does not depend on approval. You will move with peace that does not depend on circumstances. You will speak with clarity that does not depend on permission. Others will notice the difference. Some will be inspired. Some will be confused. Some will try to reconnect with the version of you they remember. But you will know that you cannot return to who you once were. You have outgrown that version of yourself. Growth always changes your relationships. It changes your priorities. It changes your direction. And that is not something to apologize for. You are not here to remain the same. You are here to evolve. Trust this process. Even when it feels uncomfortable, even when it feels uncertain, even when it feels lonely, this season is not permanent, it is purposeful. What feels like waiting is actually preparation. What feels like silence is actually strengthening. What feels like separation is actually protection. You are not being held back, you are being positioned. And when the moment arrives for you to move forward, you will do so with a strength and clarity that could only have been developed in this quiet season. Until then, remain patient, remain steady, remain faithful to your path. Because the person you are becoming is stronger, wiser, and more prepared than the person you have ever been before. Discipline in private creates power in public. This truth is simple, but it carries a weight that many people do not understand until life forces them to understand it. What people see in public is only the surface. What people applaud, what people admire, what people respect, those visible moments are only the result. They are not the cause. The cause lives in the invisible hours. The cause lives in the moments when no one is watching, when no one is encouraging you, when no one is clapping for you, and when there is no external reward waiting for your effort. It is in those private moments where discipline is either built or abandoned. Most people want the power without the preparation. They want the recognition without the repetition. They want the confidence without the consistency. But public strength is always born from private discipline. You cannot separate the two. What you repeatedly do in secret eventually becomes what you naturally display in public. The person who appears calm under pressure did not become calm in that moment. They trained their mind in thousands of unseen moments. The person who speaks with clarity did not suddenly discover their voice. They refined their thoughts when there was no audience. The person who stands with confidence did not suddenly become fearless. They faced themselves when fear was strongest and no one else could see the battle. Discipline in private is difficult because it offers no immediate applause. There is no audience to validate you. There is no recognition to motivate you. There is only you and your decision, you and your willingness, you and your commitment to something that has not yet shown its reward. This is where most people stop. This is where most people negotiate with their excuses. This is where most people delay, postpone, and abandon their growth because the reward is not immediate. But discipline is not built on motivation. Discipline is built on decision. Motivation changes. Motivation disappears. Motivation is emotional. Discipline is intentional. Discipline continues even when motivation is absent. Discipline continues even when you feel tired. Discipline continues even when you feel discouraged. Discipline continues even when you feel invisible. Private discipline requires you to act without external pressure. It requires you to hold yourself accountable when no one else is holding you accountable. It requires you to choose growth over comfort repeatedly. Every time you choose discipline in private, you are shaping your identity. You are teaching yourself who you are. You are reinforcing the belief that you are someone who follows through, someone who continues, someone who does not abandon their commitment when it becomes inconvenient. Power in public is not loud. It is not forced. It is not artificial. It is natural. It flows from preparation. It flows from repetition. It flows from familiarity with effort. When you have trained yourself in private, public pressure feels different. It does not feel overwhelming. It feels familiar because you have already met yourself in difficult moments. You have already faced resistance. You have already endured discomfort. People often believe that confidence comes from success, but confidence actually comes from discipline. Success may validate confidence, but discipline creates it, because discipline proves to you that you can rely on yourself. Discipline proves to you that you can act even when you do not feel ready. Discipline proves to you that your actions are not controlled by your emotions. In private, there are no witnesses to your struggle. There is no one to see the resistance you overcome. There is no one to see the moments when you wanted to quit but did not. These moments shape you more than any public victory ever will. Because these moments define your character. They define your standards. They define your relationship with yourself. Your public identity is always an extension of your private habits. You cannot fake discipline forever. Eventually, your private habits reveal themselves. They reveal themselves in your posture, in your decisions, in your reactions, in your consistency. They reveal themselves in how you handle pressure, how you handle opportunity, and how you handle responsibility. When discipline becomes part of your private life, power becomes part of your public presence. You do not need to force respect. You do not need to demand attention. Your preparation speaks. Your consistency speaks. Your stability speaks. People recognize strength that has been earned. People recognize presence that has been built. Private discipline requires sacrifice. It requires you to give up immediate comfort for long-term strength. It requires you to say no to distractions. It requires you to say no to impulses that weaken your consistency. Every time you choose discipline, you are investing in your future self. You are creating a version of yourself that is capable, reliable, and strong. There will be days when discipline feels heavy. There will be days when discipline feels pointless. There will be days when you question whether your effort matters. But discipline is not about how you feel in a single moment. Discipline is about who you become over time. Discipline is about repetition. It is about continuation. It is about persistence. Private discipline strengthens your mind before it strengthens your circumstances. It teaches you patience. It teaches you resilience. It teaches you control. It teaches you to act based on purpose rather than emotion. These lessons cannot be taught publicly. They must be learned privately. Power in public is simply the visible expression of private control. It is the ability to remain steady when others are unstable. It is the ability to remain focused when others are distracted. It is the ability to remain calm when others are reactive. These abilities are not created in public moments. They are revealed in public moments. Private discipline changes how you see yourself. It builds trust between you and yourself. It removes doubt. It removes hesitation. Because you know that you have done the work. You know that you have prepared. You know that you have remained consistent even when it was difficult. When you trust yourself, your presence changes. Your voice changes. Your decisions change. You move differently. You carry yourself differently. Not because you are trying to impress others, but because you are no longer uncertain within yourself. Discipline in private is not always visible immediately. It does not always produce instant results, but it always produces internal change. It always produces mental strength. It always produces emotional stability. These internal changes eventually produce external results. People often see the moment of success, but not the years of preparation. They see the public moment, but not the private repetition. They see the result, but not the discipline that created it. But the result is always connected to the preparation. Every disciplined action strengthens your identity. Every disciplined action reinforces your standards. Every disciplined action builds your future stability. Even when no one sees it, even when no one acknowledges it, your private discipline determines your public limits. If you are disciplined privately, your public capacity expands. If you lack discipline privately, your public performance becomes unstable. Discipline removes dependence on external validation. It allows you to continue even when no one is encouraging you. It allows you to continue even when no one believes in you. Because discipline is not dependent on others. It is dependent on your decision. Power in public is not something you chase. It is something you become capable of handling. Discipline prepares you to handle responsibility. Discipline prepares you to handle attention. Discipline prepares you to handle pressure. Without discipline, power becomes overwhelming. Without discipline, opportunity becomes mismanaged. Without discipline, potential remains unrealized. Discipline creates structure. Structure creates stability. Stability creates confidence. Confidence creates presence. Private discipline is where transformation begins. It is where weakness becomes strength. It is where hesitation becomes certainty. It is where doubt becomes clarity. You do not become powerful in public by accident. You become powerful in public because you were disciplined in private repeatedly, consistently, intentionally, even when it was uncomfortable, even when it was inconvenient, even when it was invisible, even when it was difficult, even when no one knew, even when no one cared, even when the only reason you continued was because you made a decision that you would not abandon yourself, that you would not betray your future, that you would not allow temporary emotions to control permanent outcomes, that you would build yourself quietly until your presence carried strength naturally, until your actions reflected stability automatically, until your mind operated with clarity consistently, until your identity was no longer dependent on external approval but grounded in internal discipline, until your private commitment created public certainty, until your unseen effort created visible authority, until your silent repetition created undeniable presence, until your private discipline created your public power.